Hey guys, what's up? This is Insanity. Got a game of Hardcore TDM on Havoc using the FFAR Assault Rifle, and I go 29-1. This is a pretty nice score, until I realized at the end that another guy on my team just totally owned me score-wise, going 40-5, and was indirectly stealing potential kills from me since he was tryharding just as much as I was. The other team was much nicer to his score streaks, whereas of mine, they tried to shoot them down as soon as possible. I could have gotten a better score in the end than this, but oh well, what can you do? I originally recall reading somewhere that Havoc scopes decrease recoil and remove sway, which sounded pretty cool to me, seeing how if I were to attach an optic, it would usually be either the reflex sight or the elo sight, since they're not as obtrusive to your peripheral vision. Ideally, I don't want my peripheral vision obstructed with a scope, unless I'm using a sniper rifle. Hence, I swear off of scopes on non-sniper rifle weapons. But hearing the Havoc scope having the two bonuses I just mentioned earlier applied to weapon sounded too good to be true. So, I tried it out on console first with the FFAR, a gun that has a bit of recoil when fired fully automatic. Lo and behold, I fire a good number of bullets and notice the lack of spread, making for more accurate and deadly shots. It's like I'm using ICR at times with the Havoc scope on the FFAR, and even if the recoil reduction may not be as good as I think, the non-existent sway is a much bigger deal. Assault rifles generally have easy to control recoil, and can be lasers with the only thing getting in their way is sway. While I prefer the reflex and elo sights, you can still notice the sway on them when aiming down a gun. The Havoc scope removes it entirely, which will allow for greater accuracy and less of a need for recoil compensation. It's kind of amusing when you look back at Black Ops 2. All assault rifles in a game initially had sway at the start. Then, Treyarch patched the sway out of the assault rifles in the weapon updates and made a good number of the assault rifles complete laser weapons. Now you gotta use an attachment to remove sway, but at the very least you can get a second bonus in the form of recoil reduction. The Havoc scope is not too obstructive on my peripheral vision, I feel, and you can reduce the zoom setting on it so that you don't get too much tunnel vision looking through a scope. I abused the Havoc scope on the FFAR when I was going for Dark Matter on it, and needless to say, having it on was incredibly helpful. The iron sights on the FFAR I can use to some extent, but I think having a scope or optic attached to it was definitely a good idea. The FFAR has a fair bit of recoil. Controlling it isn't too hard, but it's also a fairly weak weapon, and fire rate wise, it's only marginally faster than the HVK-30. Having less recoil to deal with was a huge boon. That's not to say it had zero recoil. I still had a few shots here and there where there was a noticeable kick, which definitely made a huge difference when it came to gunfights and hardcore modes and resulted in my death. But overall, the Havoc scope improved the capabilities of the FFAR considerably well and made it more of a fun gun to use. It'll never be good as the original FAMAS from Black Ops 1, but I never really liked the FAMAS anyway, so I have no problem with the FFAR being a gimped version of it. That's the gameplay and commentary, hope you enjoyed it, and Insanity is out.